Today we will be covering the St. John the Baptist Parish, Louisiana revolt in 1811. In this revolt, 500 slaves had rebelled against their slave masters to form a free, independent Afro-American society. The rebellion was led by Charles Delon. Charles Delon, he was a slave who was placed in the position of a slave driver because he was half-breed. His father was his slave master, and his mother had been a victim of child molestation. So at this time, they would place those who were light-skinned half-breed in high positions, such as the house Negro who was in charge of the house, or he would also be in positions of a driver or an overlord, which was a slave driver in charge of keeping control or eye over the slaves while the master of the house was gone. So Charles Delon was his master's loyalist slave. And he had came in contact in 1810 with two new slaves who arrived at the plantation, whose name was Cook and Clomana. These two slaves were from Africa, from the Econ Kingdom of West Africa. Charles Delon had told Cook and Clomana that 20 years ago it was a slave revolt in Hades, and the slave revolt had been successful. That tickled the ears of Cook and Clomana. So Cook, Clomana, and Charles Delon plotted to form a slave revolt in St. John the Baptist Parish, Louisiana, in 1811. The slave revolt did not go successful because they ran out of ammunition. It only took a matter of days for the slave revolt to be put to an end. But it was one of the largest slave revolts because 500 slaves had joined in this revolt. It started on the Woodlands plantation, where they entered the house to kill Charles Delon's master. The master was allowed to get away. Well, he worked his way out and escaped, but his son was killed in the house. They butchered him with axe and knife. After leaving the Woodlands plantation, the slaves marched along the road, chanting freedom or death. The slave revolt, in the end, was taken into control, where all of the slaves were killed except for 25 slaves who were taken to court and tried. Charles Delon was captured, and his master had cut both of Charles Delon's arms off and shot him and thrown him into a fire in revenge for the murder of his son. They had taken the anger out on 100 slaves who did not have anything to do with the revolt, who remained on the plantations, by decapitating these slaves and placing them, the heads of the slaves, on poles for 40 miles, from Woodlands, starting from the Woodlands plantation to the Jackson Square.